Hello and welcome to another one of our weekly live sessions where we talk about the MBA application. I am really excited to be with you today to talk about the MBA goals. This is a very, very important, fundamental, elementary component of the MBA application. And if you are thinking about applying in round one or round two or this application cycle, or even in the future, you definitely want to start thinking about your goals and how you craft them in a way that makes you stand out. So super excited to talk to you about the MBA goals for the upcoming application cycles and also some of the things that you want to bear in mind as you go through this process. With that, or actually before we jump right into the presentation, I wanted to just quickly remind all of you to write your questions in the chat, whichever platform that you are joining us from. Your questions, we'll try to answer as many questions as we can in the live. And this way, we can directly address some of the areas that you're struggling with as it relates to your MBA goals. If you are new to our channel and have not subscribed to any one of our platforms or follow, please do so. We share every single week new content related to the MBA application. So if you're going through this process, you definitely want to keep track of all the events and all the topics related to the process. We typically try to keep pace with where you should be at this point in your MBA application process, so that can help you drastically. Also, if you have friends who are considering going through this process or are actually going through this process, share the platform, share our YouTube channel, share our Instagram with them as well. We're definitely looking to continue to provide value to applicants, and we want to have support to as many people as possible. So that is on the sort of the logistical side of things. I also am super excited to share with you that next week we are going to be starting a new series. So next week we're going to have two events instead of one, two live events instead of one. So our first event is on Tuesday, April 23rd, I believe. And that event is focused on EFT discussions. So a lot of the applicants that go through the process of the MBA application, they're just a lot of work to go through, and it's inevitable that you're going to experience, or they're going to experience, some blocks, some doubts, some concerns along the way. Oftentimes, this means that there is a mindset block that you want to, work through. And on Tuesday, I will be interviewing an EFT specialist. She's a therapist, focuses on EFT, and that's specifically on mindset blocks. This can be helpful if you're going through the GRE test prep. This could be helpful if you're going through really telling your story, because that is a very vulnerable space to be in. And sometimes there are blocks that come as a result. So I encourage you to register for that event so you're notified, you don't miss out the live, and come in with your questions that you have that are some of the specific blocks that you're experiencing to make sure that we can answer those questions during the live session. So Tuesday at 11 a.m. Eastern time, I'll be interviewing Nancy Linruth. She's a Harvard Law grad and therapist specializing in EFT. I'm super excited to start this new series, and we'll have more guests coming in the future. And we'll share more about those once those are solidified. And the next typical schedule for next week, our next session on Thursday, is going to be on the MBA resume. So you don't want to miss that either. And I encourage you to register for that event. There is a link to those events that will be showing up on your screens. And you want to register for those, or just go to cadmissions.com and go to our event page and register for the events that resonate with you the most. So, okay, with that, let's get started. As usual, I have a few slides that I want to go through, and so I can start sharing those. But a little bit about me. So I am the founder of C Admissions. It's a boutique admission coaching firm. My focus is to help applicants shine. And that means that we spend a lot of time getting to know your story, getting to know the experiences that you have, getting to know what it is that you want, and helping you craft that in a way that makes you stand out and is also in line with what the business schools are looking for. So I've been doing this for several years now with high success rates. And if you are interested in having a conversation with me about how I can support you in this process, please reach out and we can schedule a one-on-one. We spend 30 minutes talking about you and your background and what you want to do, and then we can discuss ways that I can support you. Today, we're going to focus, the agenda for today is really looking at your MBA goals and how you are going to, why are they important? How are you going to be thinking through them? What are some of the, what's the roadmap to crafting an effective MBA goal? And then what are, your goals checklist that you want to make sure that you have at the top of mind. If you are not crafting your goals today, you definitely want to save this video and make sure that you come back to it when you're crafting the goals and even after, to make sure that you have not missed some of the elements in here. So let's get started. So candidates obviously pursue an MBA for several different reasons, and everyone has their own, what is the motivation that is driving them to pursue an MBA. It goes anywhere from transition in careers, which means you want to do something different. It could be a job function change, it could be a sector change, and you are looking to transition to something else, right? Then you have career advancement. So you may not want to change careers, you might not want to change sectors or function, but you do want a career advancement. You do want to continue growing in the space that you're currently in. Then there's also individuals who just really want a stronger network. Perhaps they come from undergraduate careers or undergraduate educations where their network is not as strong as they would want it to be. And perhaps also their career, their employers that they've been a part of may not have given them the kind of network that they're looking for. So an MBA is a great way to build that really strong network that helps in the career for years to come. And then also there are individuals who are looking to change geographies. You may want to come to the United States, you may want to go to Europe or any other part of the world where you're thinking about pursuing an MBA. Europe and US are my forte, my area of specialty, so I focus typically on those. Excellent. So some of the individuals, what they're looking for in when they're looking for business school, typically, we do think about, okay, rank, you want to make sure that you have, the prestige and all of that, but at the core of it all, what you're looking for is the right opportunities for your short and long-term goals. If you are not thinking in this way, you have to think in this way from an MBA perspective, in the sense that an MBA is a tool, and it's not the end destination. It's not that going into Harvard is going to be it's obviously going to be a life-changing experience, but it is not the end, right? Life does not end with HBS. It is a tool that helps you get to where you want to go, that have the impact that you want to have. So obviously, when you're looking at the business schools, you're looking at the quality of education. You want exposure to the opportunities that you have not experienced previously. So oftentimes, I always tell applicants actually that you don't know what you don't know. You don't know what you have not been exposed to. And you go into an MBA program to have the opportunity to be in kinds of experiences that you haven't had exposure to previously in your life. You want to strengthen your network in your desired industry, even in your obviously your own industry, but it could be also changing when you're changing industries. Reputation and brand. We recognize how valuable those are and how important they are in one's career. So That is also very important. And then the return on investment. One thing I will say, your return on investment should be thought of as not just the immediate post-MBA. Oftentimes applicants are only focusing on that. Obviously, that makes sense as to why you would do it, but an MBA is something that's going to give you a return for years to come, 10 years, 20 years down the line. Obviously, provided that you are leveraging the things that it offers you. It opens many doors. It has, you can leverage that network that you started building and continue to build over the years. So think of an MBA not just as the immediate post-MBA career goal, but really this long-term plan that you have set out for yourself. So oftentimes the greatest mistakes when it comes to goals is essentially writing these unclear goals or just not knowing exactly what you want to do. So having this sort of like, I want to explore mindset. This is something that is detrimental to your application process. When you think about business schools, they have more applicants, there are seats available. And if they have a choice between someone who knows exactly how they're going to leverage the business school versus someone who is exploring, who would you choose, right? Obviously you would choose the one who knows where they're going and knows how they're going to leverage the business school's offerings for success, for future success. So you want to make sure, oftentimes what I hear essentially applicants do is, they have this like, I want to explore, I have a plan A and a plan B, which I understand how that makes a lot of sense, but for business school, it may not be the best approach. Not thinking through the goals. Sometimes applicants say, oh, well, I want to transition into consulting. Okay, great. Why? And then it ends there, as in, oh, it pays a lot. That's great. But we want to really know a little bit more about what moves you, what makes you tick, what are your values. So not thinking through the goals and going deeper is one of the greatest mistakes that applicants make. And in speaking generalities or cliches, sometimes applicants have a tendency of saying things that that is often used without actually diving deeper into why is that important to them. Generalities and cliches are never something that makes you stand out, right? If you go in with your goals, which are the fundamental component of an MBA application, it will lead to undesired results. And then obviously we also have those individuals who who have unrealistic expectations as far as the goals are concerned. Sometimes I hear applicants, this is particularly true because it's such a nuanced way to that requires one to go through the application, the job hunt process. And that is, I come from, let's say, retail, and I want to move into private equity or venture capital and have no finance background, nothing that can be of value to the PE firm, which is a really difficult conversion, right? That is quintessentially an unrealistic expectation. And an MBA committee evaluating your candidacy will look at this applicant, if that's something that you will write, and say, well, that's great that this individual wants to go into PE and maybe they will be able to get into PE, but that's a 1 to 2% chance that we're not willing to take the risk. Therefore, again, leading to undesirable outcomes in the MBA application. So really be pragmatic, ambitious, of course, but be pragmatic in your MBA goals. Oftentimes, well, we'll talk more about what are the things that you need to be doing to actually make your MBA goals stand out. Simon Sinek has this book, Start With Why, and that's a very important sort of mindset to have in your MBA application, in MBA goal crafting phase. Starting with why it is that you want to do what it is that you want to do, whatever that may be. You want to work in operations, you want to work in finance, you want to work in energy, you want to work in CPG, investment banking, whatever field that you choose, there has to be a why. We don't do things just to do things. There is a why. And you typically want to go beyond the superficial, well, I want to make more money than I currently make. Obviously, that is a need. It makes a lot of sense. But business schools at top 20 business schools are not moved by your desire to want to make more money. That in and of itself is kind of a given. But typically, when you look at all the evidence, all the research around what makes C-suite executives, which is the role that you're going to have, what makes them successful is the ones that are successful are the ones that are motivated beyond the money, right? And when business schools are looking for MBA candidates, they're looking for the ones who are motivated beyond the money as well. So your why needs to be thought out. And if you want to talk about your why and how we can support you with your why, definitely reach out to have a conversation with me on your goals and obviously the application process. So once you have your why, then you need to essentially reverse engineer that. So if your goal is to, change the way the retail industry looks at and operates its supply chain, because you see the impact it has on the environment, well, that is excellent. And there are many different paths that you can take to have that impact. What is your path, right? So you're going to reverse engineer that, your short and long-term goals. And then obviously you're going to look at the skills that you need in order to be successful in that path. And then finally, you're going to look at, of course, how you'll get there. What are the things, what are the steps that you're going to take to make sure that you get the skills that you need, that you are paving a path for yourself that gets you to where you want to go. It does need to be as detailed as this, because as a committee is reviewing your applications, they will not have a chance to speak to you and get to know your detailed goals, and for you to be able to share a lot more details. In order for them to invite you, what you write in your application needs to be enticing enough for them to say, yeah, I want to learn more. Then you have an interview where you get to share more about your goals. But in order for you to get an interview, your application must be compelling enough, right? Now, your checklist. You want to have a plan. Do not write and submit your MBA application without a plan. And what I mean by plan is, like, you need to have a goal. You cannot say that you are going to be undecided, because this is not college. You start your recruiting process before you even step foot on campus. You want to be specific. What is your goal? What is your job? Where are you going to be working? You want to be as specific as possible. You want to give examples where it makes sense, particularly in goal essays. How is the school going to help you get to your goals? And then, of course, highlight the school's values and ways that they can support you in that process. We're going to move to questions now. I'm going to stop sharing my screen so this way I can actually all right, see the questions. Perfect. So if you have questions, write those in whichever platform you're joining us from so that I can answer them live. We did have questions that came in through the registration, so we will be answering those as well. Okay, so my goal is to start a sustainable business in a developing country in Asia. How can I effectively reflect this unique value in my application materials? Well, when it comes to the MBA application, You want to, if your goal is to start your own business, so first and foremost, so this is entrepreneurship category, then you want to be able to demonstrate that you have an entrepreneurial mindset, right, to begin with. So what are the experiences that you've had in order for you to illustrate to the admission team and make them feel confident that you will be able to succeed in that MBA entrepreneurial venture, the entrepreneurial idea. If it's sustainable, sustainable business can mean many different things, but I would say you want to look at the experiences that you have and then leverage your own personal experiences to demonstrate how your value is something that is intrinsic, something that is based on your why, right? Why do you want to do what you want to do in Asia, and how is that going to impact the communities your business will be a part of, right? And then in your application, obviously that's reflected in your goals, that's reflected in your resume, that's reflected in your essays, particularly those that are goal-focused essays. So there are many different areas that you can sprinkle your aspirations and your vision in your application, as far as sharing with the admission committee how this value is something that you've carried with you throughout the years. So should I only focus on my professional goals, or am I going to include personal goals as well? For business school, your professional goals are the only ones that you are going to include. However, it can mean that your professional goals are influenced by your personal goals. Sometimes applicants are, especially like you have a family business, and that is a personal goal, is to continue the family business and continue to see it grow, and that also impacts your professional goals, because that's your career that you have chosen for yourself. So this means that they are kind of woven together. Sometimes an applicant is influenced by their own personal experiences. So if you're in healthcare and your own journey, your own familial experiences have influenced you to want to make an impact in the healthcare industry, then that is a personal motivation that is leading your professional goals. So there, again, is a way that you can weave them together. Typically, the most impactful goals are the ones that are based on your own experiences, because this is, if we think about making an impact and we have no exposure to the thing we want to make an impact in, your understanding of the problem is very macro, superficial. Therefore, how you talk about it, it's not fueled by your own drive, by your own personal experience that is influencing you in these goals. So typically the strongest goals are the ones where you have had personal experience with. I will tell you that, if you're as you grow, whatever you choose, right? Whether you are professional, climbing up the ladder in the professional sort of space, or you're an entrepreneur or intrapreneur, there are challenges that you will cover, that you will come through, that you will experience rather. And typically that personal motivation is the thing that gets you through it all. So it's always important to remember, why do you care at the end of the day? Excellent. I've primarily worked in small startups, but plan to shift to corporate finance post-MBA. Okay. What steps should I include in my goal narrative to make this transition seem plausible to the committee? Well, If you want to, well, it depends a little bit, I guess, on the roles that you've held in those small businesses. So if they were finance focused roles, I think that can be a very smooth, in a way, transition, because you have at least an understanding of that, and then you can talk about how, like, what's the value of going to corporate finance post MBA, and how is that going to impact your long-term goals. It's always really important to remember that your why, your long-term goal, is the target, right? And everything that you do between now and that future, so however far that future is in the future, is a stepping stone, right? So if you think about wanting to move into corporate finance post MBA, well, how is the corporate finance job, experience, exposure, training, insert the thing that it's going to give you, how is that going to support your long-term goals, right? So it's definitely ways that you can incorporate that. If you don't have finance experience, it's going to be a harder sell, because an MBA doesn't give you a lot of time to learn finance. So you should be taking classes that can help the admission committee support you in this goal, to show them that you're really serious about moving into finance. Excellent. And one last question. What examples of leadership or initiative should I include to support my career aspirations? Well, I'm not sure that you need necessarily leadership or initiatives to speak about specifically when it comes to your career aspirations. You do need some kind of personal exposure, personal experience, not personal as in like, familial, non-professional, but having had your own experience in the thing that you're looking to do in the long term. So, if, for example, you've seen how many, like if you work in consulting and you see the problem across the board of how finance institutions make certain decisions, that is a personal experience that influences your goals, right? So that's the extent to which you're talking about. And then, of course, your goals are in where you're looking to go. The leadership and initiatives that you're going to be talking about is going to be more in your resume. It's going to be more focused in your essays, particularly when you share stories around the kind of impact that you have been able to make so far in your career and in your industry. And I think that will really round out the application in, one, being able to say that you are ambitious, you have this, future that you are planning, and that you are taking steps towards moving towards it. But you also have a success history that convinces the admission committee that you are someone who will have success in the future. And then, of course, that is something that they're looking for when they're evaluating candidates, because they want to know that you will continue their legacy, to have success, to have an impact in the industries that you're going to be a part of, and the jobs that you're going to have along the way. Excellent. So with that, again, I just want to invite you to our next week's event. On Tuesday, I will be interviewing Nancy Linruth. She is going to talk about mindset, particularly as it relates to the MBA application. So I really, really encourage you to attend. Register to be reminded. The event is on our YouTube channel, so click that notify me button so that you are also getting an email from there. And then on Thursday, so a week from today, I'm going to talk about the MBA, how to craft an MBA resume. So you definitely want to join that as well. And we're going to have a lot more events in May as well. So super excited about all the initiatives that we have started and the impact it's going to have in your MBA applications. Thank you again for joining us, and I look forward to seeing you on Tuesday.